This is Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. This is block number 8 of the Beginner's Botanical Quilt. There will be 9 different blocks in this quilt. To view all of the blocks in the quilt, play this video until a green screen appears and click on the link in the upper left hand corner. I recommend you use up your scrap fabrics before buying new fabric. I also recommend if you need to buy fabric, buy anywhere from 1/8 yard to 1/3 yard or buy fat quarters. Now let's get started. This is the block layout. Wherever you see dark lines, those are where the seams are between each piece of fabric. You'll notice that I have 2 different green areas. Those are the leaves, and then the dark part going down the center is the stem. For your leaves, you'll need to pick 2 different greens, a dark and a light. You'll need 2 of each that are 4 inches square. For the stem, select a brown fabric. You'll need one that's 1 inch wide by 12.5 inches long. Your background pieces are where all the white areas were, and you'll need 8 1 3/4 inch squares, 4 3.5 inch squares, 2 3¼ inch by 12.5 inch. If you need instructions on how to cut quilt fabric, click on the link in the upper right hand corner. To make the leaves on the back side, draw a line from corner to corner and then pair it up with the light or dark. So you're putting a light and a dark leaf together. So you're pairing them up. Then stitch a 1/4 inch on each side away from the line. So from the center line, go out a 1/4 inch and stitch, go out the other way and stitch. Then press it on top to get the seam relaxed. Place your ruler back on there going from corner to corner and cut your block in half. Then, whichever is the darkest fabric, press the seam towards the darkest fabric. And do that for all of them. So you're making 4 altogether. Take each block and square it to 3.5 inches square. So on your ruler there is a diagonal line that goes from corner to corner. Place that diagonal line right on top of the seam going through the center. Now here are my 3.5 inch lines here and here. I have a little bit of fabric extending out past the edges here and here, plus a little bit outside here. Now is when you can square it to a perfect 3.5 inch. So cut 2 sides. Now take the block, take this corner and bring it around over here. Place the diagonal line back on top of the seam. Now place the 3.5 inch lines right on the edge of the 2 previously cut edges. So you're placing it right on there and line it up. Take your time because you don't want your blocks to be all off. And then cut the last 2 sides. Take your 8 background squares that are 1 3/4 inches square and draw lines from corner to corner on the back side of the fabric. On each of your leaf blocks, place 2 on opposite corners. So you're placing one on the light green side, one on the dark green side. Make sure the lines are going this way. Then stitch very close to the line, but not on top of the line. but very, very close. And then on this side, you're going to stitch very close to the line, but not on top of the line. So stitching on this side over here, stitching on this side over here. And again, do that to all 4 of your leaf blocks. After stitching, then go ahead and press your seams flat. Trim each of the corners off. So place a 1/4 inch line right on your stitch line, and then trim the corner off. Do that on all of the corners. Then press the seams towards the leaf fabric. Whenever possible, always try to press your seams towards the darkest fabric so that it doesn't show through on the front side. After making this leaf block, I advise you to check the size of the block to see if it's still 3.5 inches square. As you stitch on your fabrics, you will find that sometimes it gets a little distorted and you might have little pieces sticking out here and there. And I don't really on this side, but I notice over here one is just a little off, so I'm going to trim that little piece off. So I'm lining up my diagonal line on the seam. Always take your time whenever you're doing this and trim it off. So I would advise you to check all of them to make sure that they are 3.5 inches square. Lay out all of your fabrics now. So up here in this corner, you've got a leaf, a background square, another leaf, and a background square. Up here, it's just the opposite. A background square, a leaf, a background square, a leaf. And notice that I have the lighter or the polka dot on top and the solid on the bottom. And I did that consistently all the way through. Here's where your stem piece is going to go. And then you have your 2 strips out on the outside that are 3.25 by 12.5 inches. Stitch this row together and this row together. 1/4 inch seams. So bring front sides together and stitch, and then take these 2, bring front sides together and stitch, then take the 2 sections and stitch those together, and then go over here and do this one. After you finish stitching your seams, then press the seams on the back side first. Then press on top, and I press all of my seams going in the same direction. So as you can see, they're all going this way. They can go the opposite way, but it's just easier if you press all your seams going in the same direction. So lay your strips back out so it looks like this. So make sure that these are staggered. Stitch the 2 side sections to the stem. So bring the stem on top, stitch 1/4 inch seam along here. Press the seam on the back, unfold, and press on top. And I've pushed this seam towards the stem. Then take the other side, bring it on top, stitch 1/4 inch seam along this edge, then press, unfold, press on top, and then again press the seam towards the stem. As you can see, the seam is going in towards the center. Now stitch the side pieces on, line them up, bringing front sides together, stitch 1/4 inch seam, bring this one on top, stitch 1/4 inch seam. Then press your seams on the back side, then unfold them and press on top and push the seams going towards the outside strip. Here it is on the back side. The seams here on the side have been pressed towards these strips. And then your last step is to check the block out to see if it's 12.5 inches. Take your 12.5 inch square ruler and place it on top. put the 6¼ inch line right down the middle of the stem, because that'll be your center. Then line it up around the edges and see if you're off very much. One of the things you want to look for at this point is it extremely off? Is it way out there? It's way past your ruler's edge. Or is it real small? Did it come in very short all the way around? There could have been several reasons why that happened. Either you cut the fabric incorrectly, your seam allowance was off, maybe it wasn't consistently exactly 1/4 inch. Did you press your seams as you went along? And also another thing that can throw it off is if your stitch length is too short. If you see a lot of puckering in your seams, then lengthen the stitch. If it's very close, if it's just slightly a little too short around the edges or just slightly farther out than the edges, then wait till you have all of your blocks made. Then you're going to click on the link in the upper right-hand corner and learn how to square and get all your blocks to the same size. For more quilting projects, play this video until a green screen appears and then click on the links. If you like this video, click on thumbs up and then click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the little bell and enter your email address so you can receive emails about my latest video. If you're not receiving those email notifications, go to your cell phone or iPad and click on settings and turn notifications on. This is Maria, this is Manny, this is Tony. So glad you came to my sewing room. See you next time and happy sewing!